Hey Prodigal, we're so glad you decided to join us today. We are in our second week of hashtag The Struggle is Real. We wanted to say a huge thank you to those of you who signed up to volunteer last Sunday. We shared a few of the positions and needs that we have in the realm of volunteering, and there are still a few more. So check out our social or come find me if you are interested in serving or meeting any of the remaining needs. Next Sunday, September 7th, is Baptism Sunday, and we cannot wait. These are always some of our favorite services of the year. It's not too late, so if you would like to get baptized, see any of our staff or send us an email at prodigalchurchfresno@gmail.com. Next week, we'll also be starting a brand new series, Prodigal at the Movies, so check this out.
He's looking at you, kid.
21 gigawatts!
60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense. All I'm offering is the truth.
You can't handle the truth! But they'll never take our freedom!
We do not talk about micro.
Are you not entertained?
May the force be with you.
Hasta la vista, baby.
We can't believe it, but Prodigal is turning 8 years old at the end of September. We can't wait to celebrate all that God has done in and through us over the last 8 years. Coming this fall, we'll be having a number of connection events for everyone, so make sure you have the Prodigal Church app so you don't miss a thing. There are even things on there that you should calendar and sign up for now, so check it out. Some of these connection events will include our fall small groups. We need a handful of you to lead or host these groups, so if you can, send us an email or just come talk to me. Your support means the world to Prodigal, and we know the struggle is real. If you would like to give, you can use the app, website, or the giving boxes or kiosks in the lobby. Thank you so much for supporting the heart and mission of Prodigal Church. That's all for announcements today. We're so glad you're here. Have a great Sunday.
This past Sunday, we began a 2-week series called hashtag The Struggle is Real. And the struggle that we all have is the idol of money. It's our heart to address issues and topics that affect our everyday lives, and our anxiety and worry about money is definitely a struggle. Generosity is the cure for the grip that we have on money, and the grip that money has on us. One place you can give is to Prodigal Church. It is through the generosity of people like you that we're able to make an impact here in the Central Valley and all over the world. You can give online today on the Prodigal Church app or website. Thanks so much for your generosity to Prodigal Church.
We're paying with love tonight. It's not about the money, money, money. We don't need your money, money, money. We just wanna make the world dance. Forget about the price tag. Ain't about the cha-ching, cha-ching. Ain't about the ba-bling, ba-bling. Wanna make the world dance. Forget about the price tag.
This is a $20 bill. Okay, you can buy lunch with this perhaps after church, wherever you're listening or watching this from. Would you like this $20 bill? Okay, hold on real quick, because money can be hazardous to your health. Okay, 2 medical researchers at the University of Louisville have been looking into the question and have found that 13% of the coins and 42% of the paper money that we have carry disease-producing organisms. You still want this 20? Yeah, me too. Okay, we hold money up to be the cure for almost everything. I wouldn't be so stressed out if I just had this amount of money. I wouldn't be unhappy if my checking account just had a few more zeros attached to the end of it. We are in week 2 of our series, hashtag The Struggle is Real. And I think we did all right last week. And we got a lot of positive feedback from many of you. And it feels like that we're kind of scratching an itch, something that we needed to address. We're addressing something that's necessary for all of us to hear. In fact, one dad texted me after church and said he was discussing the sermon topic with his teenage son. His text said, "Great sermon today. When we got in the car, I talked to my son about it. I mentioned how money wants to control us, and it's like a disease if we're not careful. It will turn us into a monster. But when we are generous and when we give, we can reject the lie and the monster. I told him I wanted to figure out a way to depict this idea in a picture, but I couldn't think of anything, so I commissioned him to try, and this is what he came up with. How great is that? What a great conversation, and what a great illustration. I truly believe that money and the desire for money has become an idol for so many of us. We trust in it instead of in God. Money is something that we all struggle with. And as soon as somebody says that you struggle with something, you immediately think of the ways in which you don't. Or as soon as somebody says that you're not a certain way, you immediately think of that one time that you were that way. How many times has this happened? Like in your marriage. At some point in marriage, maybe multiple points in your marriage, that your spouse will say something like, you just don't help out enough around the house. And then what's the first thing that comes to your mind when your spouse tells you this? Remember that time in 2014 when I unloaded the dishwasher? Do you not remember November 15th, 2014 when I came home and I unloaded the dishwasher? Don't help around the house. I help around the house. We immediately think of the one thing we did that's an exception to the rule. You could walk up to the meanest person that you know and go up to them and go, hey, do you realize, like, everybody thinks you're mean. They will immediately think of the one nice thing they said 4 years ago and define themselves by that. This comes naturally for us. It's the water that we swim in. We do the same with money. I'm not greedy. I gave in 2016. I gave this amount, or I was generous here. We do this all the time. This past January, I made a New Year's resolution to work out more, okay? And weightlifting, it's not rocket science, okay? It's the same dumb thing over and over again. When more weight gets put on, what was hard can become easy, okay? Going to the gym, trying to pump that iron, it's heavy. I can't do it. But if I keep doing it, if I keep trying, if I keep going, what was hard can become easy. So I was at the gym just this past week, and I decided I'm going to try and lift a weight that was once too much for me. It was too difficult. Couldn't do it. I'm going to raise my max. So I looked at myself in all those mirrors and I said, John, you're strong. You can do this. And so I had the weight and I started putting it down and I just, I was so close to the end. Like all these noises started coming out of me. Okay, I farted 3 times. But I got that weight up. Okay, I got it up. I made it happen. What was once difficult was now maybe not easy, but I can do something that I hadn't done before. Why? Repetition. There's a word there. What was once difficult can become easy. That's the way it is with generosity. It's hard to let go. It's hard to open up our hands. Proverbs 11:34 says this, one person gives freely, yet gains even more. Another withholds unduly, but comes to poverty. I love the way Eugene Peterson puts this in the Message translation. Proverbs 11:34, the world of the generous gets larger and larger, and the world of the stingy gets smaller and smaller. The world of the generous gets larger and larger. That's true, okay? I want you to say it with me. The world of the generous gets larger and larger. Do it with your arms. The world of the generous gets larger and larger. Now, if you're on a bus, if you are at a coffee house or something, when you went larger and larger, you may have touched someone, okay? Do you see how you can't open your arms larger without it affecting somebody else? There's a point here. When we are generous, it affects other people. Some of you have been asking for God to make it larger and larger. And God has been blessing you. And you're worried about paying your bills, not realizing that the reason God might have given you that raise is not so that you can just pay your bills, so he can direct you to pay somebody else's bills. Perhaps you are the answer to prayer for someone else. Yeah. The world of the generous gets larger and larger. Generosity opens up our eyes, opens up doors. We don't know what God wants to do. Larger and larger. And yet, the stingy, the world gets smaller, smaller. Sometimes that's us when it comes to generosity. Our giving very often is sporadic, spontaneous, and sparing. Sporadic, okay, we do it, but we don't do it consistently, okay? It's a bit random. Spontaneous, homeless guy on the street, at a charity event. Everybody else seems to be giving, I should give too. And sparing, we don't let it really affect our lifestyle. For many of us, this is what generosity looks like. And that's wonderful, okay? No matter how you give or how often you give or how much you give, it's good, true, and beautiful. But giving sporadically, spontaneously, and sparingly won't move us to become a generous person. They're good things. They're beautiful things. But we're not formed into the kind of generous person that loosens the grip that money has on us and that we have on it. So this morning, we're going to see how Jesus moves us from the 3 S's, sporadic, spontaneous, and sparing, to the 3 P's, priority, percentage, planned. Okay? Last week, we looked at the first 2. Priority. God should be first. Okay? Remember Iron Mike's upholstery. When we get money, giving is the first thing. It's about the order. It's not pay the mortgage, pay the car, save for this, entertainment expenses, and now I've got some left over, I'm going to be giving that to the purposes of God, okay? The priority is I'm going to give first. I don't want money to be the master in my life. I want God to be the master in my life, okay? Priority. And the second thing we looked at was percentage. We looked at the tithe. Tithe means 10%, tenth. It takes faith to live off 90% of your income because you're giving the first 10% to God's kingdom. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to give to church. Give to advance the work of God in our world. You got an issue with the church always asking for money? Don't give here. Give somewhere else. But don't leave here thinking, yeah, I'll give to somewhere else, and then just never get around to giving. Give. Make it a priority. Make it a percentage. Generosity is the only cure for releasing the hold we have on money and the hold money has on us. Okay, that was last week. Priority and percentage. The final P, planned. Planned. Check out the story in Mark 6. The apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all they had done and taught. Then, because so many people were coming and going that they did not even have a chance to eat, he said to them, "Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest." So they went away by themselves in a boat to a solitary place. But many who saw them leaving recognized them and ran on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of him. So, first off, this was an inconvenient time for Jesus and his disciples. Okay, they were trying to get away from the crowds. They wanted to go to a solitary place. Everybody followed them. Okay, it wasn't a good time. You ever get a phone call like from a telemarketer or something and you use that as an excuse? Yeah, like this is not a good time. Or it's someone on the line that like you want to speak with, you want to hear them, you want to connect with them, but you're right in the middle of something. This is not a good time. Another time would be better. These crowds wanted the attention of Jesus. It wasn't a good time. It was inconvenient. What did Jesus do? Verse 34. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. By this time it was late in the day, so his disciples came to him. "This is a remote place," they said, "and it's already very late. Send the people away so that they can go to the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat." But he answered, "You give them something to eat." Send them away. It's not a good time. It's inconvenient. The needs are too much. There's somebody else's problem. And Jesus says, "No, you give something to eat." They said to him, "That would take more than a half year's wage. Are we to go and spend that much on bread and give it to them to eat?" "How many loaves do you have?" he asked. "Go and see." When they found out, they said, 5 and 2 fish. Okay, notice they took inventory. They had a plan. They knew how much was in their account. 5 loaves, 2 fish. Verse 39. Then Jesus directed them to have all the people sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups of hundreds and 50s. Okay? Jesus directs them, get in groups of 50 or 100. There's a plan. There's organization. They're not winging it. It's not sporadic, spontaneous, or sparing. It's planned. Look at what happens next. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to his disciples to distribute to the people. He also divided the 2 fish among them all. They all ate and were satisfied. And the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces of bread and fish. The number of the men who had eaten was 5,000. Okay, men, 5,000. Women and children, it's probably 20,000. It says that he took what wasn't enough, the 5 loaves, the 2 fish, wasn't even enough for the disciples. And the disciples, remember, they're hungry too. Okay, 2 fish, 5 loaves. It wasn't enough, not just for the crowd. It wasn't even enough for the 12 disciples. Jesus took what was not enough. He looked up to heaven and he did 2 things. He blessed it and he broke it. Okay, the bless, okay, good. Why'd you break it? Like it already wasn't enough. And then you're going to ask for some more of it? And then he gave them the broken pieces to the disciples to set before the multitude. Can you just put yourself in this miraculous scene for 1 second? Jesus takes what's not enough. They give it to him. He blesses it. He breaks it. And he says, "Here you go, Peter. Here you go, John. Now give." John and Pete are looking at each other like, "Bro, did you hear what Jesus just told us to do? He said to give it away. This isn't enough for me and you. Let's just eat it." Okay, that's what we would do. This isn't enough to give to anybody else. If we give it away, you're just going to be hungry, and I'm going to be hungry. And you know Jesus makes us walk everywhere. We got to get our carbs up. This is going to be an all-night affair. He's going to keep preaching. Everything's going to be closed. Eat it. You eat it. If you eat it, I'll eat it. This is what I would be thinking. This is what you would be thinking. Jesus took what was not enough, gave thanks, broke it, and it was multiplied. He took what was a small amount. He took what wasn't enough. And not only was it enough, but there were leftovers. And these are like the best kind of leftovers. Like the kind of leftovers that are better the next day. Okay, are you picking up what I'm putting down? The world of the generous gets larger and larger. The world of the stingy gets smaller and smaller. Generosity expands your world. So when we give, does it make our finances larger and larger? Because if that's the case, where's the offering? Okay, where do I give? What's the website? I'll write a check today. So when we give, does it make our finances larger and larger? Sometimes. I found that when my family is most generous, our cars break down less. Generosity flows back to us. There's an unexpected refund check in the mail. Sometimes those things happen, and it can surely be considered a wink from God. I got you. But the larger and larger that the Bible's talking about is so much larger than your checking account balance. It is through giving of your worldly wealth that you might gain real wealth. That the idol of money suffocates and you begin to live more free. But in Mark chapter 6, there was a plan. If you want freedom in your finances, it's priority, it's percentage, and it's planned. I once read, what you keep is all you have. What you give, God can multiply. I believe it. Hattie Mae Wyatt was a 6-year-old girl who lived near Grace Baptist Church in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Sunday school she was in was very crowded. Russell H. Conwell was the minister. He told her that one day they would have buildings big enough for everyone to attend. She said, I hope that you will. It's so crowded in our classrooms. Sometimes I'm afraid to go alone. He replied, when we get the money, we'll build one large enough to get all the children in. 2 years later, in 1886, Hattie Mae died. After the funeral, Hattie's mother gave the minister a little bag that they had found under their daughter's pillow containing 57 cents in change that she had saved up. Alongside it was a note in her handwriting that said, to help build bigger church so that more children can go to Sunday school. The minister then changed all the money into pennies and offered each penny for sale. He received $250, and 54 of the cents were given back. The $250 was itself then changed into pennies and sold by the new formed Wyatt Mite Society. In this way, her 57 cents kept on multiplying. 26 years later, in a talk entitled The History of the 57 Cents, the minister explained the results of her 57-cent donation. A church with a membership over 5,600 people. A hospital where tens of thousands of people had been treated. 80,000 young people had gone through university. 2,000 people gone out to preach the good news of Jesus. All this because of Hattie Mae Wyatt investing 57 cents. What you keep is all you have. What you give, God can multiply. Give to the purposes of God. Give to something that you believe in. Give to something bigger than yourself. Priority, percentage, plan. You got to have a plan. We're ending the series today. You got to have a plan. Okay, don't be like the husband who forgot his anniversary altogether. Their anniversary came and went. He hadn't got her a thing. Needless to say, he was in big trouble. She was furious. Through clenched teeth, she told him, the only way you can make this up is to get me a really good present. Tomorrow morning, I expect to find a gift in the driveway that goes 0 to 200 in under 6 seconds. And she stomped off to bed. By the time she woke up the next morning, he was already gone to work. When she got up, she looked out the window. There, in the middle of the driveway, was a small gift wrapped in a small box. She put her robe on, ran out to the driveway, tore open through the wrappings, expecting to find a key. When she opened the box, she found a brand new bathroom scale, which seemed like a bad gift, but in reality, she got exactly what she was asking for. She got something that would go from 0 to 200 in a hurry. Okay, the husband's funeral was scheduled 2 days later. Gotta have a plan. There was an interesting study done from the University of Zurich in Switzerland. Researchers where they went out and they found 50 people and they said that you'd be receiving $100 over a few weeks. And half the people were asked to commit to spending the money on themselves, and half were asked to spend it on someone that they knew. The researchers wanted to see whether simply pledging to be generous was enough to make people happier. So before giving out any money, they brought everyone into a lab, asked them to think about a friend that they'd like to give to and how much they would hypothetically spend. Then they performed functional MRI scans to measure brain activity in 3 regions associated with social behavior, generosity, happiness, and decision making. Here's what they discovered. Just deciding to be generous was a game changer in your life. These scientists found out that if you make the mental decision to spend money on others, that led to acting more generously, and it lit up part of their brain associated with happiness. Other studies have shown that practicing generosity leads towards better health. In fact, practicing generosity is effective at lowering your blood pressure just as much as medication and exercise. Generosity, it's woven inside of us. We need to give. We need to give. When we give, we talked about this last week, it should be out of love and joy, not duty and obligation. Okay, I have a twin brother. And I remember this camp at Fresno State that we went to way back in the day, probably 1991 or 1992. Okay, we were 10 or 11 years old. And at the end of the day of this camp, we got to swim in Fresno State's pool. And I was super excited about the high dive. Okay, there wasn't like a lot of high dives in central Illinois where I grew up. Okay, I only saw them when watching the Olympics. But before we could jump off the high dive at this camp, we'd have to do like dive off the blocks, do the butterfly, the backstroke, the breaststroke. And when all the kids are lining up on the blocks, like I'm sneaking off to like climb the ladder of the high dive. I didn't want to swim the backstroke. I wanted to jump off. And after the first day, the instructor told us that we had to race before we had fun. Like I felt like I had to do it. So I jump in, but while doing the backstroke, I'm just staring at the high dive. Okay, I wasn't a very good backstroker. I was obligated to do it, but I didn't want to. What you'll discover in life is that nothing great is ever built with the spirit of obligation. If you have to do something, if you're made to do something, not much is ever going to come out of that. The only way to get something different out of all of the strokes of swimming is to be passionate about swimming and swimming faster. I wasn't passionate about this. But you know who was? Someone who looks just like me. Okay, my twin brother Pete didn't care about the high dive. He wanted to win the race. No matter if it was freestyle, breaststroke, backstroke, butterfly. He didn't have to swim. He got to swim. And you know where it led him? Well, to Valley Championship in high school, swim scholarship in college, multiple national championships as a swim coach, and dream jobs. He didn't have to. He got to. In life, nothing great is ever built with a spirit of obligation. The only way that Prodigal Church will be a place that's life-giving and not life-draining is to have people who are passionate about making this place all it's called to be. If we're going to build a church that's going to reach our community, if we're going to build a church that our kids will want to go to and our grandkids are going to want to go to, we're going to have to move from obligation to opportunity. If we want to bear fruit in the future, we must plant seeds in the present. We have to move from I have to give to I get to give. We reject the spirit of obligation and we search and long for the discovery of generosity as privilege. Spirit of the living God, move us out of obligation to privilege in every way. God, what we give, you multiply. Help us see that experience a larger and larger world as we give to bless others. Help us, God. We need you. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you so much for joining us throughout this sermon series at Prodigal Church Fresno. Give. Whether that's Prodigal Church or not, if you'd like to give to us, you can do so on our website, prodigalchurchfresno.com/give. We want to encourage you to make it a percentage, make it a priority, and make a plan. If you've got a religious allergy, just don't, and you don't want to give to the church, cool. Find an amazing organization that does great, beautiful kingdom work to helping those who are suffering and hurting in our world, and give there. Just don't use it as an excuse not to give. I'm not going to give to the church. I'll give someplace else later, and then later becomes never. Make a plan. God, help us with this. Pray God's peace and blessings upon you, your family, and friends. Grace and peace.